guys, so today we're going to work on 2.4, solving multi-step inequalities. So solving multi-step inequalities is very similar to solving multi-step equations. The first step is to answer the distribution property. Second step is to combine any like terms. And then this third step is to solve for the variable. So for example, let's say we have here 3x is greater than 2 parentheses x plus 3. In this case, all I'm going to do is distribute the 2 to both the x and to the 3. When I do that, I get 2x plus 6. And so I'm left with 3x is greater than 2x plus 6. The second step is to combine any like terms. I see here that I have 2x and 3x that are like terms with each other, so I want to combine them. So I'm going to subtract 2x on both sides. When I do that, I get positive x is greater than 6. And so that would be my answer for the following question. Say that we have this question here. Solve the inequality 2v minus 4 is greater than 8. I'll give you time to try and solve it on your own. Okay. So for this equation here, let's write it down first, where we have 2x. Well, that looks pretty ugly. Is there anything smaller? Maybe it could be thinner like this. So the question was 2x, and I think it was 2v minus 4 is greater than 8. So 2v minus 4 greater than 8, correct? Yep. Now what I want to do first is see if there's any thing that I need to use for the distributed property. I don't see any parentheses, so I don't have to go and do that. The next step would be to combine any like terms. I do see that we have a -4 and an 8 that are like terms with each other. So I can combine them together by adding 4 to both sides. When I add 4 to both sides, I am left with 2v, which is greater than 12. Now the last step is to solve for v. And so over here, I see that I want to isolate v by moving the 2 to the other side of my equation or inequality right here. Now the way I'm going to do that is by doing the opposite operation. I know that 2 is multiplying with v, so I want to do the opposite operation, which is dividing by 2 on both sides. When I divide by 2 on both sides, I'm left with canceling the 2's out, and we get v is greater than 6 as my answer. Let's try out another one. So solve the inequality 2 parentheses k minus 5 is less than k plus 7. So try doing this problem on your own first, and then we'll see if we get the same answer. Okay. So the question says I need to lower it. 2k minus 5 is less than k plus 7, I think. Yep, plus 7. So based off of my steps, I need to answer any thing where I can use the distribution property. I do see here that we have parentheses, so that means that I could distribute the 2. So I'm going to erase this. And I'm going to distribute the 2 to both the k and to my 5. I'm going to make this a little bit thicker if possible. And so when I do that, I get 2k minus 10 is less than k plus 7. Now the second step was to combine any like terms. So I see here that I have a 2k, and I also have a k that I can combine together because they are like terms. I also have here a 10 and a 7. So I'm going to start off with the k's first. I'm going to combine those two together first by subtracting k on both sides. When I do that, I get 2k minus k, that gives me positive k, minus 10, and then I get these two canceled out, and so I'm left with positive 7. And like I said before, 10 and 7 are like terms, so I can combine those as well. And so I'm going to add 10 to both sides. When I add 10 to both sides, I'm just left with k less than 17. In these cases, we do have some special solutions. So for example, over here, if we do obtain an equivalent inequality that is false, such as 4 being greater than 100, that's not true. 4 is not a bigger number than 100. The inequality has no solution. But if you obtain an equivalent inequality that is true, such as 12 is less than 20, then we say that we have all real numbers are solutions. So, for example, let's go to the next slide. We have two examples provided here. Let's start off with the first one. So the first one is asking us 8b minus 3 is greater than 4 parentheses 2b plus 3. We're going to do what we usually do first, which is the first step, distributed property. I'm going to distribute the 4 to both the 2b and to the 3. When I do that, I get 8b plus 12. And I drop everything else down, so I get 8b minus 3 is greater than 8b plus 12. Next step is to combine any like terms. I see here that the 8b and the other 8b are like terms. I also see that the 3, or the negative 3, and the positive 12 are like terms as well. I'm going to start off with the 8b first. So by subtracting 8b to both sides, it ends up canceling both of them out because in the end we get 8b minus 8b, and that just equals to 0b. 0 times b just gives me 0, so they both cancel out. And so I'm left with 0 minus 3 is greater than 0 plus 12. So in the end, I get negative 3 is greater than 12. Now negative 3 is not a bigger number than 12. And because of that, this statement is false. And so since the statement is false, we say that there is no solution here. Okay, and I'm just going to move this to the other side so I have more room for my other question here. So let me just move it to right here. Okay, let's try out the next problem. So the next problem is 2 parentheses 5w minus 1 is less than or equal to 7 plus 10w. First thing that I see are parentheses, so I'm going to distribute. I'm going to distribute the 2 to the 5w and then 2 to the negative 1. When I do that, I get 10w minus 2 is less than or equal to 7 plus 10w. Next step is to combine any like terms. I do see here that 10w has a like term with the other 10w, And then there's also -2 and 7. So I'm going to combine the 10W's first. When I combine the 10W's, I subtract 10W on both sides. And then I'm just left with 0 minus -2, or sorry, 0 minus 2, and then +7. And so I get left with -2 less than or equal to 7. Now since -2 is smaller than 7, we can say that this is true. The statement that we have here is true, and so we say that we have all real numbers. And all that means is that if we had a number line shown here, and we're 0, this is 1, 2, 3 goes all the way to infinity. Over here is -1, -2, -3, and that goes all the way out to infinity. W could be any of these numbers because it's all real numbers. So W could substitute for 0, it could substitute for 1, 2, all the way to like trillions and millions. Same goes for the negative numbers where you have -1, it could be -100, doesn't matter because they're all real numbers. Can substitute for the W. Alright, so I want you to try it out on your own first. So I'll give you a few minutes to do that. So in this case, we do have 2 parentheses 5W minus 1 is less than or equal to 10W minus 2. And then let me make it a little bit thinner. So I see that we do have some parentheses. I'm going to distribute the 2 to the 5W and to the -1 first, so that I get 10W minus 2 is less than or equal to 10W minus 2. Now the next, oops, I didn't write down the W sign here. So let me write that down. 10W minus 2. And then I want to combine any like terms. I see that 10W and 10W are a like term with each other. And then we also have -2 and -2. So the first thing that I'm going to do is cancel out the -10W by subtracting 10W on both sides. When I do that, I'm just left with 0 minus 2 is less than or equal to 0 minus 2, and so -2 is less than or equal to -2. Now, -2 is not less than -2, but it is equal to it. And the fact that we do have this equal bar means that this statement is still true. So I'm going to write here that it is a true statement. And the answer is all real numbers, because -2 is equal to -2. Let's try out one more. So try this one out on your own. You have -4 parentheses 3n minus 1 is greater than -12n plus 5.2. Okay. So let's start it off by distributing the -4 to the 3n and to the -1. -4 times 3n gives me -12n, and -4 times -1 gives you +4, and that's greater than -12 plus 5.2. Now the next step is to combine any like terms again. So I'm going to combine the -12n with the 12n. And then I'm also going to combine the +4 with the 5.2. So I'm going to start off with combining the -12n with each other by adding 12n to both sides. When I add 12n to both sides, I'm just left with 0 plus 4 is greater than 5.2. And so I'm left with 4 greater than 5.2. This is not a true statement because 5.2 is bigger than 4. So we say that this is false. And because it is false, we say that this answer is not, or has no solution. So not solution, has no solution. And that's it. Hopefully this helps you out. Good luck.